hopefully that will work. Okay, we're recording now. I'll just have to quickly edit. All right, let's do this.
Hey. Okay.
All right. Let's do this. Go ahead.
Who's starting?
You are. You're the boss.
Oh, I'm the boss. Okay, so welcome to. We have no idea what we're talking about. I have Harry on one side and I have James Wagner on the other side, and we're going to discuss. Let me see the notes. What are we discussing again?
Ideas to improve Second Life user retention and onboarding?
Yeah. Okay. So what's your idea? My idea was, I've talked about the gateways because I think it's a brilliant idea.
So what exactly, when you say gateway, I know you had a previous video on this, but can you define what a gateway is? I know you were talking about the wrestling gateway.
Well, it's Linden giving them a SIM. They have a full SIM, and they have a website, and you can join SL directly from their website, and they will land on their wrestling.
I see. Okay.
So Firestorm has one too. You can join. I don't know where their website, but they must have a sign up.
So they would.
Website.
So they would market it to people who play wrestling games already and jump in, get into a wrestling role play.
Yes.
Yeah. The big challenge with that is the user interface is not going to look like anything that people who play wrestling games or fighting games are used to. So we'll still have that problem of 99% of people going, well, I don't even know how to move, so I'm just going to quit and go back to my Xbox.
Yes, but you would have that issue with any of gateways. You have that issue anyway, whether it's wrestling, furries, or creative.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with the gateways is you land people basically into a middle of an experience without first wrapping them up to get used to the user interface. Because this is actually Linden Lab tried this in the early 2000s. They would dump people in various popular spots, like there was an airport or into the fighting sims, and then people would just get overwhelmed because like they don't even have a way to get familiar with the user interface.
So talking about the user interface, which I realize is a problem, I actually did a test a few days ago and signed up as a new RV, imaginatively called Test Avatar 000, and I joined through the SL platform because I thought that most new users would probably sign up on that rather than Firestorm. And what I found was that it's a much lighter weight and easier UI interface than the Firestorm one is. There's a lot less controls. It's less bewildering. And I also found that there were mentors there to greet you as soon as you come in.
This is the streaming option?
No. I downloaded the software, and I know I know you've said in the past that a lot of people don't even get past the download, which blows my mind, because what's the big deal about downloading software? But once you're into... Go ahead.
I'm just saying, most people who are not gamers, I talk about this in the book, they're just not used to the idea of downloading large clients. So because they expect if it's on the web that it's going to be on the web, and so they're not even aware that something's being downloaded in the background. So either they don't know it's there, or they panic and go, "Oh, it's probably putting a virus on my laptop." I mean, that's how unfamiliar most people are who are not gamers. That's why I think it was such a huge mistake, even now, not to launch on Steam, because that's the one aggregated user base that is totally used to and expects to download large clients, and also to, to be used to launching it and then launching the game and not being totally handheld when they go into the experience. But
why aren't they on Steam? What's the
Yeah.
issue to be
well, yes,
Steam?
this is in the book too. I was
I reread it.
Abby Altberg was like, well, the Second Life's not a game, which again is a giant conceptual misunderstanding.
Mhm.
But then secondly, they were worried they would have to pay 30% of revenue to Valve, the company that owns Steam.
Wow.
So there's that issue.
Whoa.
But really, there was the adult content issue, but actually that's not a problem anymore because Steam changed the regulations to allow adult content. So Second Life would go on tomorrow if they really wanted to. And to me,
30% is outrageous. That's huge.
Yeah, but that's typical. Like that's what Apple and Google charge as well. So, which that's what they're dealing with the mobile app, and the way they get around that is they don't have you can't buy currency through the mobile app. You can buy it through the website or the PC client, which I think is fine if you get people past the hurdle of being excited to try it. Then people will tell them, you'll be hanging out a Second Life. You go, oh yeah, you just got to go to the website and buy Linden dollars. So that's a way around it. It's just that you cannot, if you go through the app, the mobile app, or you go through the Steam app, or if you install through Steam and buy it through Steam, you have to pay them 30%.
So when you talk about revenue, then what you're saying is revenue that is put through Steam, not total revenue. Okay, got it. So, I think I actually reread the part of your book to do with Second Life to get ready for this show. And I think using Steam as a distributor is a great idea. As you say, people are familiar with it. Certainly a new generation of gamers who isn't used to downloading software. I mean, I'm old. I have no problem with downloading software. In fact, I won't do anything in the cloud. I want it on my machine. So I think having it on Steam is a great idea, but you could also just have a big statement on the on the Second Life site where someone signs up that it's going to take a few minutes to download the client, and please be patient. I mean, this is not a big deal. It seems to me, and I think it seems to me that a great deal of the hurdles could be overcome, like the PBR viewer and people not, people that's complaining it doesn't work when they haven't allowed it through their firewall. Just explain to people what they need to do in big capital letters on the website when they sign up, or on the viewer. I can't believe that downloading software is such a huge problem, but maybe it is. I don't know.
It totally is. And even adding textual explanations, you start losing like 80% of the people.
Wow.
Like if it's not instant and automatic, because that's how we've learned growing up, or the last 10, 15 years with apps on your phone. It just launches immediately, and there's not all of these hurdles. So it's just that.
Are we talking about a specific demographic though, like young gamers, as opposed to older people who remember the days when you used to have to download everything?
Actually both, because I found that out even when Facebook games were in vogue, like Farmville and so on. People, I talked to a developer at Zynga, and the vast majority, or a large percentage of people, would quit even as the I think it was Flash, it was loading on the screen, and a majority would just get too frustrated of waiting 2 whole minutes for the game to load on their screen and exit out of it. So even with an older demographic, they're used to getting all of everything pre-installed on their desktop, and they just run whatever's on their desktop and are not used to installing new apps. And with newer users, they're used to just having everything work automatically on their mobile phone.
So the only alternative to Steam then is streaming through your browser, which is a cost issue.
Right. Now, I think that's why Brad and Philip are pushing to make that the user experience is if you sign up, the first 30 minutes are going to be fully streamed. So you get this fully beautiful experience, and they're changing the UI of the what was that, Second Life Zero it's a totally new user interface. I haven't seen the new version yet, but hopefully they're making it a lot more user friendly. I know they are, but see, my thing anytime I talk with Philip and them is just, you got to put some game structures on this. Like, make each point of the user interface a game. Like, can you walk here? If you walk here, you get a prize. Not necessarily Linden dollars, but some kind of tchotchke.
An incentive. Incentivize. Yeah.
At the very least, have the get chimes and applause, something that rewards the user. But
that sounds like a game now. If you do that, so you don't want to promote Second Life as a game, saying, oh yeah, no, Second Life is not a game, but you want to introduce something that is totally gamified.
Well, it is a game. It's always been a game. It's just that Linden Lab, for marketing reasons, I get into this in the book. For marketing reasons, they said, let's not call this a game anymore, so we don't get pigeonholed.
Well,
but it's not a game, though. It is a platform. I play video games. This is not a game. Like Once Human, Destiny, Marathon, they are games. This is not a game. Like, there's nothing. There's not a boss to kill. There's no raid to do with Harry.
Right.
And
well, that's
revives.
That's called a sandbox game. There are many multiple sandbox games where there's no points. There's no goals. You're just in it, and it's a sandbox simulation. So Second Life is a sandbox simulation game. And the very fact that we're here with avatars, role-playing as avatars, and pretending that we're in a world, that's a role-play game. So that's been the big conceptual thing that got missed by the company. And now a lot of the users think, well, yeah, this is not a game, but it looks like a game. It plays like a game. It acts like a game. A large percentage of the user base calls it a game. So we have this stumbling block that people still want to insist it's not a game, and that's led to it being a giant niche. Like I said, they didn't want to put it on Steam because they said it's not a game. It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot here.
Yeah, I think Pris and I will both agree that it's not a game in the sense that I understand a game, but you make the point in your book, and you made it just now, that by pretending that we're in a real world, at one level, at a meta level, it is a game. And I don't mean Meta, the company, by the way.
Yeah, but I can understand.
It's really a matter of definitions here, and it kind of goes out the window when the objective is to get people to join.
It's not a traditional MMO. You definitely say that. But what we're doing now, people do that in Minecraft. They're now doing it in Inzoi. There's other multiple game-like apps that exist. So it's the category we're in, and it's just that on a philosophical level, the company and now the user base has had difficulty absorbing that. And I talked about this with Phil. You can have the game structure there. And if you don't want it, you can just click a button, say remove all the game structure, like the points and goals, and then it goes away. And then you don't have to treat it as a game at all. But you definitely need that to get people past all of the massive hurdles of the first hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
It's funny. I remember, I've been here 10 years now, but I do remember joining. And I think it really depends on temperament and the kind of person you are. I'm kind of geeky, and I don't easily get put off if I want to do something. I get fascinated. I remember it took me a month before I could put a shirt on, and never mind going upstairs. I mean, I still have trouble getting through doorways, but some people are going to stick with it. And I've heard it said in Second Life that if you make it past the first 4 hours, you never leave, and I think there's some truth to that. So maybe is it that it's just not for everybody?
Well, it is.
But that's
for everybody.
Truth. I'm sorry, Chris?
It is not for everybody. But at the same time, you've got people like the Denise, who is new to Second Life. She did a month of research before she joined. So she did her research, watched YouTube videos, and found out anything she needed. Then she joined. So she knew, she was aware that it was not going to be easy to set up a new avatar, but because she was prepared, she had that knowledge before she joined, she's happy now.
Well,
I guess for
Second
me,
Life could be
go ahead.
just to say, Second Life could be for a lot more people than it is now.
Yeah.
It's by intentional design that has remained a niche. But like I try to explain in my book, there is upwards of 1 billion people who are in platforms that have 80 to 90% similarity to Second Life. Minecraft is huge. Mm-hmm. Roblox is huge. Rec Room, VR Chat, these all have very similar features, and they are huge because, well, first of all, they don't try to have this distinction of we're not a game, and they sell themselves as a game to people who are primarily gamers. And Second Life could do that. And so I think that's what I'm going to write about this soon. The problem with the marketing that Linden Lab is doing now is they're only marketing it to people who have succeeded, who have gotten past these barriers. Whereas there are hundreds of millions, literally hundreds of millions of people who would find Second Life fascinating.
Yes.
If they showed what the capacities are, like the fact that Second Life is the largest single shard contiguous virtual world online where massive amounts of players can be in the same world at the same time. That's huge. We're the largest thing of that kind. Mm-hmm. I put the challenge out there. What world is larger, like geographically larger? And none of them are, except Minecraft, but you can only put like 20 people in it. So that's something that, like, if you're just talking about the fashion and the role play, which is great, but that's only one aspect of it. There's this whole other aspect. Like, there's 200 million people who grew up on Minecraft. If you get 1% of them to try out Second Life for the Minecraft-like features, what's my math? 20 million? So
what are the Minecraft-like features of Second Life? Are they community?
Well, the sandbox. In fact, I've talked about this with Philip. Is what if we had a mirrored version of Second Life that strips away all of the mesh and stuff, and just you go in and you can create and make it a big sandbox. Mm-hmm. That would have all the features that Minecraft has, but better, because it would be much more powerful and the graphics are better. The sandboxes are the most popular sites in Second Life, and now they're not. It's crazy. You go into these sandboxes and people would be building all kinds of things. And if you're in a combat sandbox, people would be building combat games, and it's really fun. And people don't know that still exists in Second Life. It's crazy.
Yeah, but that's where the gateway sims comes in. Like, if the sandbox is a way to promote, then you need a gateway for sandbox. Promote that part of Second Life. Yeah, that's what I was saying with the gateways. The gateway should be so you can focus on marketing for specific themes, because you can't promote Second Life as everything. Like, yes, you can be everything, you can do everything, but promoting that as a marketer, it just doesn't work. But if you market to some audience, so you want to attract Minecraft, then create a gateway, a sandbox gateway specific for this audience, and promote this side. You want to attract
that totally makes sense.
We want to attract the sports people that want to do surfing, ride a horse. I heard
sailing.
Boxing as well. Yeah, sailing is a good one. You know, you need to create a gateway that is specific to that, and then promote just that.
But you also
campaign should be. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna add on to what you're saying because I agree with you. You would need a special user interface that would be very closely modeled after the most successful products. So Minecraft, if you look at the user interface, is pretty complicated. It's no way as complicated as Second Life, but they could add a heads-up display that maps similar user interface features of Minecraft onto Second Life. So you put people into that portal, and the Minecraft users go, oh, okay, I get how it's sort of like Minecraft because this button does that button does that. So you would need to do that. With wrestling and sailing games and so on, you have the challenge. There's not many that are as huge. I mean, I was telling Brad, there's a Microsoft game called Sea of Thieves that has 40 million users. And I was like, if you could just get 1% of those to go in and say, okay, well, you could sail, but you have much more control and creativity, get those in. So you need a portal, but you need a user interface that kind of looks like Sea of Thieves.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, but I think that's the way to go, though. I do believe the gateways are the way to go because you can't, as a marketer, you cannot promote Second Life with everything. You need to categorize.
So you're targeting specific interest groups and demographic.
Yeah, because...
So let me ask a question then. So first of all, I think it's a great idea. Secondly, I know that you mentioned that the wrestling interface took 2 years to be approved, which is insane. And
That took 2 years to approve it?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
But it should take 2 months, if that. Thirdly, though, I'm in Second Life for community. I think the communities are amazing once you discover where people actually are. So you bring people in through these gateways. How are they? Are you ending up with 2 Second Life societies? How do they?
No. It starts there. Like if you join
as
as
a
wrestler,
that's just their doorway.
Yeah, that's it. I decide that I want to be a wrestler, so I'm joining on the wrestling. Like when I land, I'm in the wrestling world. You know, this is where I've got people to guide me, telling me how to move, and you know, you have people to talk. This is a world I'm into, you know, wrestling. Then you can go out there exploring, but you would have learned the beginning of Second Life, you know, it's not just about wrestling. Yes, you're going to land in wrestling because you're comfortable and this is why you join, but it doesn't stop you from exploring the rest of Second Life. So it's not building another Second Life, it's just a gateway, as it's called, a gateway, like a door to enter Second Life, but you're entering something you're familiar with. If you're into sailing and you want to be sailing, it would make sense that you're going to land where you can sail, where there's boats. But yes, of course, you still need to you know, create an avatar and buy, choose, have the difficulty of building the avatar. But because you are landing in something that you are interested in, that makes it a little bit easier for the onboarding. Because if you want to do selling and you're going to the welcome hub, how is that going to stick with you?
Right. Well, it's interesting because when I, as I said, I tried joining as a new member and testing out how the UI looked just a couple of weeks ago, and there was a mentor right there in the Second Life welcome area, using the Second Life viewer. And I talked to him a bit and I asked him some questions about, you know, how the onboarding process went from a mentor, if, you know, a lot of people gave up very quickly. And he said, you know, not so much that, but he says people come in and they have no idea what to do. He says that they always ask him, what do I do here? What should I do? So he said, I ask them questions about their interests and try and steer them in that direction, and, then show them how to get some freebies, free clothings, maybe upgrade their avatar a little bit. But he says the main question he gets asked is, what do I do? So the gateway seems like a great idea in that regard.
Well, that's another reason for having a game structure too, is you don't have challenges like explore 10 sims and you get a reward.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Walk for X amount of distance on the mainland, you get a reward. Just things like that are fun in and of themselves and challenging in and of themselves, that shows you what's available, and then people will find their niche.
Yeah, but if someone is joining to do sailing because they came across a video that is about sailing, putting them at the welcome hub and making them, go and visit 10 sims, that's probably going to be very pretty regions, but empty. How is that going to make them want to stay?
That's a whole other can of worms, isn't it?
Oh, you can have a button like, okay, I'm done with this, or take me to the sailing. The challenge here was the challenge here is any of the like sailing and wrestling and so on. They're all going to be substandard versions of what exists on the market. I mean, if you look at fighting games on Xbox, they're amazing. Sea of Thieves is really amazing. Where Second Life excels is it's as a sandbox, as a creative platform where you can build anything you want. It won't be up to the level of an Xbox game, but it'll be quite good, and you get to create it the way you want. So I think that's the challenge with the gateways is you can't compete with any of the comparable game experiences.
Yeah, but we're not trying to copy, though. This is not trying to copy. This is trying to attract people to have another experience. And this is where the problem is. You cannot copy a game because what you're talking about are actual games. When you come to,
that's the thing. Is like people just play the
selling,
game.
Yeah, but when you come here on Second Life to sell, it's not necessarily about the game. You're coming to selling, discover places. I mean, I think they do have races though in the sailing world.
Oh yes, they do.
Yeah, they do have races, this kind of thing, but it's not the same as a game. You cannot really compare it to that. So the
user will. The average consumer will. They go, okay, well, I can get into the Second Life thing. I have to jump through all these hurdles to sail, and it's difficult to use the interface. Whereas if they could there's multiple sailing sims on Steam that they could just jump in very easily and they're able to play it. So I think that people have to understand that there's a whole sandbox built underneath all of this other content, and then understand that first and then jump into sailing or whatever. Because otherwise they'll just get frustrated and go, well, I'll just try something else that's easier.
So that there are layered difficulties here. The first is the UI and people being used to Steam and things that work immediately. So we now have Project Zero, the access Second Life through your browser. Maybe a way to do it is to combine the gateway idea with giving people, say, half an hour doesn't seem much. I'd say 4 hours of free browser time on Project Zero, and then having a subscription basis if they want to keep using the browser for access. Otherwise you download your client. Once you've been in Second Life on the browser for 4 hours, you've maybe even joined through a gateway, so you're kind of hooked on the thing you came here for. It works very well on your browser because it doesn't matter how good your PC is and you haven't had to download a client. And then after 4 hours, this is going to cost you $9.95 or $14.95 a month for unlimited browser streaming, or you download a client.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that, because obviously there are two problems to solve here, it seems. I don't know about the onboarding experience so much. To me, it seems that what would put me off if I were joining Second Life today isn't downloading a client. It's what would put me off, honestly. It's not even the starter AVI, which they're terrible. It's the lack of AO or movement of the starter AVI. They walk like ducks, and they look terrible. They walk like ducks on meth. And I think that, if someone's going to join SL and they're pretty quickly going to see the more sophisticated residents who have beautiful bodies and AOs and look pretty damn photorealistic, you don't want people to feel like paupers and feel like they look ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I think that Linden Labs could really improve on that. I mean, honestly, even those fun new cardboard cutout PBR bodies are more fun. I mean, people will get those. If I were wearing one of those, I wouldn't mind going into a club with sophisticated avatars, but I wouldn't go in a Linden body.
Well, that's actually the bigger philosophical issue with the avatar choice, which is that it should not be attractive humans by default. That's such a can of worms that we're suffering. I literally, there should be a duck that walks like it's on meth, like literally a duck avatar. That would be fun, or a robot, or a squirrel. Like, it should be multiple options, only two of which are human, because
furries for sure.
Yeah, but like there's a large robot community, people into that. But cartoon characters. And so people don't feel like they have to be peer pressure to look good, because I mean, so much of the Second Life economy, the majority of it is built around high quality mesh.
Exactly.
And it's become, it's recreated capitalism and materialism.
Exactly.
And there should be a place where we can get away with that, or get away from that. And, people like doing that, that's fine. But that is a thing that puts a lot of people off too, like you're saying, they get this default avatar that looks like crap next to all these high mesh Maitreya, mesh bodies. But it's like, well, we didn't even have to get to that point if you give people many options where they don't have to be that. Like I say in the book, like, especially women, they don't want to feel pressured. They don't want their looks being judged when they go into a virtual world, let alone the real world, because they already have to deal with it there. And they'd rather just be a robot or a puppet or something, anything to explore the world, to see what's there before they decide what they want to be as their default avatar.
Chris, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm always going back to the gateways. Like, I kind of agree with that, but the same thing. If you are going to join a wrestling sim, you should have option for wrestling bodies, outfit, so that the experience is better. And then probably offer humans and furries, for example. But the same way, if you are going to join a community of furries, you don't want to be a goth avatar. You just want to join as a furry. So the option should be, male and female or whatever furry. I think the avatar should be a little bit more themed, depending on what you are doing, than rather having those random fugly beginner's avatar. But that's because I like the theme gateway option.
I think, honestly, I think we're almost doomed to two societies here, because Second Life, Linden Labs obviously makes a good deal of its revenue on Marketplace, and more than that, the vendors make and creators make all their revenue on Marketplace. And because Second Life is all user created, creators have given us these amazing bodies, incredible choice of clothes. There's over 2 million apparel options on the women's side of Second Life. I mean, 2 million clothing items plus, and growing. You can't stop that. You can't stop people wanting to live I think James called it the Malibu look. In Second Life, they're going to want to do that. People want their tropical islands. They want their
especially with
bodies.
The amount of videos that you see, like lots of time on TikTok or YouTube, they're asking, oh, what is this? Where do I play?
Yes,
Second
exactly.
Life. And people expect, so when they're watching all these videos and everybody's on YouTube, everybody's on TikTok or Instagram. So when you see Second Life from this point of view, when you decide, okay, I want to join because, this chick looks super cool and this guy look hot.
Right.
They want to look like that, but then they join and they met with these screens of ugly avatars. I'm sorry. I would probably quit too. I would say, "What the hell is this?" and just shut down and never come back.
I think one solution. I mean, I honestly have a lot of sympathy for Linden Labs. I've read some of their history. I've read James's book. I've spoken to people who were here in the very, very early days when everybody looked crazy and it was just wild fun and very sandboxy. And I see what it is today, and I kind of enjoy what it is today too. But I get it. I get the evolution, and I think what I would be looking at. We
didn't know any better before. We
exactly.
didn't have those choices. We were all the same. When I'm looking back at it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I looked fugly, and we thought we were hot.
I think the strongest. Gosh, if I were in Linden Labs, and I would hate to be in their shoes because this is really all really tough stuff. I think I would incentivize all the existing residents to recruit new people to come in. I would incentivize the hell out of it. Offer them the moon to bring in new people, and when those new people have stayed 3 months or spent some money on Marketplace and are going to stay, reward them. So I'd leverage the existing population for a start, and I think I'd be advertising in places like the AARP Journal. That's the seniors to you, Chris. I'd be advertising in all the LGBTQ publications or magazines. I'd look for all those niche groups that really need a community or feel stigmatized or threatened in the real world.
But same thing, I would start a gateway for these communities, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just leverage what you already have and make the veteran residents your both your recruiters and your mentors, and reward them for that. Maybe that's a desperate gambit, but that gets us round the gateway, the need for gateways, the need for Steam, etc. You have someone who loves the place and holds your hand and encourages you to join.
And
they've had programs like that before. Trying to think about some kind of affiliate program. But
they did have back in
definitely a good idea to relaunch it, because then that's actually probably the most effective way. Just literally, look, we'll give you $10 for each person who stays for 3 months or whatever, and then because then what you do is you get YouTube and TikTok influencers who are already in Second Life, and they can get people in more than anybody else. and walk people through all the interface.
We are already doing that without getting the that.
Exactly.
You know, like to me, yes, they should bring the affiliate program because, you know, thank you very much. I spend, you know, 20 to 30 hours every week, you know, and all I do is promoting Second Life as, you know, a good place to be. So that we shouldn't even be discussing this. They should do it, bring it back. I don't know why they stopped it because we are promoting it.
Yeah,
you know, I think as a writer, I see it with books. You know, one of the huge problems about being a writer is getting visibility in a marketplace where 3,000 books are published a day, and every study I've seen says that the best way of selling books is by word of mouth recommendation. When someone recommends a book to their friend, that's more powerful than any amount of advertising or marketing or anything. Direct word of mouth.
Yeah.
That's always been for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We trust people we care for. Right.
Yeah.
With influencers, they already have a relationship with their fans. So a fan, because if you just make it a strict money offer, then people feel like they're just being exploited.
Yes.
As opposed to, you know, you got influencers like, hey, come on, join me in Second Life. It's fun and free, and you can hang out with me in World. Then, you know, at least from the fans' point of view, they're doing it to hang out with, you know, their favorite influencers. So that could be a really good way around all these problems.
Actually, yeah, I've never done that. I've never actually said in any of my video, come and join, it's free. Maybe I should have had a tag.
I'll hold your hand for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, some of the bigger ones do stuff like that. But yeah, just, you know.
No, I don't have time, Harry. Please don't. I do not have time. Like, I as much as I would love to hang out with everybody, and yes, I'll do more live stream. You can talk to me, and I do answer a lot of messages because I get a lot of messages, you know, thanking me and asking questions and all that. But yeah, I do not have time to take everybody